My sister didn't do meth, and I got her into using it. And I don't know, I just kind of brought her down, and now my sister's pregnant, and she can't quit smoking, and it's really, really bad. She's like 7, 8 months pregnant, and she's really tiny still. My name is Kara. I'm 15 years old. I'm from Missoula, Montana, and I started doing meth when I was 11. Like, I lived with them, so then my sister was like, I'll try it, I guess. And then we started doing it every single day. I didn't think it'd have that big effect. I'm like, hey, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm doing it myself, you know? How could me smoking meth hurt that person? You know, they're not smoking it, they're not doing it, but it does. And my niece is a meth baby. My niece is only a year and 5 months old. I don't know, I didn't care if I hurt anybody along the way. I just did what I wanted to do at the time. And it's just, I know I feel really, really bad.
Brought to you by the Montana Meth Project.
I feel ashamed a lot of times about my behavior. When I was on meth, I didn't care who I affected. The worst things I did was beat my girl when she was pregnant. My name is Mike. I'm 17 years old. I'm from Great Falls, Montana, and I started doing meth when I was 14. I was high one time, and she came home from work, and she was telling me why was I high. And I told her I didn't want to hear it, and she kept on going on. So I got up and slapped her. Like, just kept on slapping her. And then I just left. And I know that there's scars that'll never be healed because of my use and how I've abused her and stuff. Looking back on all the things I did on meth, really regretful, ashamed of myself. Don't really feel like I deserve to be here anymore.
Brought to you by the Montana Meth Project.
I got raided in a hotel room and arrested for possession. And it was either I get my act together or I would never see my family again. My name is Lena. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Nanakuli, Hawaii. And I started doing meth when I was 15 years old. This is when I first heard of ice. I thought it was disgusting. But I thought, you can't fit in unless you do ice. And then I got addicted to it, and I didn't really care if I was loved or not. I just needed the drug. I would run away from home, or I would trade my jewelry just to get high. And I got raped because of ice. I regret taking my first hit.
Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
When you're doing ice, everything's fast, everything's going like 500 miles per hour. And all you think about is getting high. And then I started doing things I normally wouldn't do. I would have sex with my dealer for money. I would have sex with guys for money. I lost myself completely in 1 month. Like, it was so fast. My name is Gloria. I'm 15 years old. I'm from Lahaina, Hawaii. I started doing meth when I was 14 years old. I lost a friend that hung himself because of it, because he couldn't handle hearing all the voices he heard. My friends are selling their bodies. They're in jail. 2 of them are dead, and they're not going anywhere. They're hurting their families and hurting themselves. You go to a dead end. There's no future with ice.
Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
One of my really good friends, she passed away now because of methamphetamine. She was straight A student, going to school, getting ready to go to college and whatnot. And me and her boyfriend, Brian, got her hooked on using methamphetamines. My name is Matt. I'm 20 years old. I started doing meth when I was 14. She got hooked right off the bat. She dropped out of school. She quit her job, stole from her family in order to get high and to get me and my friends high. I guess she was driving, and I guess she overdosed there, started shaking and whatever, and a semi-truck hit her, and the car caught on fire. My friend got out before he realized that she wasn't out. It was too late, you know. So just think back on the whole story, and she didn't even want, you know what I mean? She didn't even want to get high, and we kind of peer pressured her into it. You know what I mean? That's not really words that can explain the way that I feel.
Brought to you by the Meth Project. The lowest point for me would be sitting at my apartment knowing that I'm going to prison and thinking about killing myself and my girlfriend walking in. My name is Joe. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Whitefish, Montana. I started doing meth when I was 13. I was going to shoot a bunch of drugs and then shoot myself in my apartment because I was so high on meth, and the thought of coming down and going to prison was too much. There's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like meth. There's nothing as horrible as meth. Maybe it's the sleep deprivation that goes along with it. Maybe it's the chemical compound of the methamphetamine. Whatever it is, it's dangerous. I don't really know anybody that's a casual meth user. I don't know anybody that leads a productive, healthy, happy life that is a meth addict. You're really not in control of what's going on. I'm sorry for ever using, but you can't ever change that it happened.
Brought to you by the Montana Meth Project.
Now that I'm off of meth, the thing I'm most ashamed about is shooting up my girlfriend so I could have all control.
He treated me like I was a piece of property instead of a person. My name is Caitlin. I'm 20 years old, and I'm from Kalispell, Montana.
My name is Matthew. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Kalispell, Montana. I started doing meth when I was 16.
When he was in his addiction, that's all I wanted.
I pawned her off on the drug dealers. I'd say, come on, baby, we need to get high. You're my only option.
Oh, we were fighting all the time, constantly, over money, over not having the next fix.
I put her down. I call her names. I've smacked her before. I've told her she's worthless, and I don't even care.
That drug is strong, and it takes everything from somebody.
Before I used meth, the things I said I'd never do, and now I've done, and I have to live with them.
Brought to you by the Montana Meth Project.
We call them the shadow people. And the shadows play tricks on your eyes, and like I would always think somebody was gonna kill me, and I would just be like waiting, and I'd like have a knife on me or something, but it's just like an overwhelming premonition that something really bad is gonna happen, but you don't know what it is or who's gonna do it.
I'm Trina, and I started doing meth when I was 16.
Like I almost got strangled in a motel room because I was getting high with this guy that I didn't know, and he almost strangled me. I believe that meth is the devil's drug. It's very evil and it's very powerful, and you don't know what you're getting into. You have no idea. I have scars and pock marks on my face because I would pick at my face. There isn't just once. With meth, it'll steal your life away.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
I was really high and paranoid, and I remember stealing from this old guy, and my friend slammed him with the knife in his face, and the guy got knocked out, and we stole all his money and all of the things from his house, and we drove away, and I stayed high for like a month straight. My name is Gloria. I'm 15 years old. I'm from Lahaina, Hawaii. I started doing meth when I was 14. Just like pushed everyone that loved me away. And then from then on, everything just went downhill in my life. The only thing I thought about was just smoking more and getting high. Because at the time, the only thing I loved was ice. I regret everything I did when I was high, because none of it was good. None of it benefited me in any way.
Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
My older friend took me to her drug dealer's house, and we were smoking ice, and I ended up stealing from him. My friend told me that he was searching for me high and low. He was leaving her voicemails that I better watch my back, and if he sees me, he's gonna cut my throat. And I was scared. I was honestly scared. My name is Hoku. I am 16 years old. I am from Kohala, Hawaii. I started doing meth when I was 12. My family started losing trust in me. I started stealing money from them. Like, I even one time stole my mom's grocery money. We didn't have food for months, and my little brother either. Now I know what this drug has done to me. It made me lose friends. It made me separate from my family. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care about anything. Like, this drug, it destroys lives.
Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
I went to a party one night. We were all snorting lines, and this guy came up behind me, and he said, "Hey, let's go back here. I know what we can do." And he grabbed me, and I was already high, and I got raped. My name is Jen. I'm 15 years old. I started doing meth when I was 11 years old. Kept saying no, and he wouldn't stop. And I just kind of cried afterwards, and he gave me an 8-ball, and I just said, okay, that was worth it. And then that's when I started selling my body for meth. I know a lot of my friends said, you're gonna get addicted really bad and real quick. And I just kept saying, no, I'm not addicted. And it kind of just turned out that I wanted it every day. And I did really stupid things. I sold myself, and I stole from people, and I cheated people. I don't know anyone who's quit using meth after they've tried it a couple times or just once.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
This guy that we knew, we gave him some meth and he went to shoot it up, and he died. We left his house, and a few weeks later we found out that killed him. He was up in his room and his dad went up there and he was dead. My name is Bob. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Butte, Montana. I started doing meth when I was 9. And I regret when I was on meth, giving it to little kids, 12-year-olds and stuff, selling it to them. I regret helping cook it. My little brother sees it, when I'm doing it. He sees it sometimes, and I think he doesn't know what it is, but I think he thinks it's a cool thing to do, and you gotta be grown up to do it. I tell him how bad it is and tell him that it really ain't that cool, and just try to explain to him that it's not fun, that it'll ruin his life.
Brought to you by the Montana Meth Project.
I was actually with some people who were making it the very first time I ever tried meth, and that was really scary because, the one guy, all his teeth were falling out and his face was, rotting off. Meth is it's sick. It's really sick. My name is Katie. I'm 18 years old. I'm from Billings, Montana. I started doing meth when I was 14. There was this guy that I knew, and basically he had a lot of money, so I used him. I sold him drugs, and I started him shooting up. I shot him up for the first time, and he had a family, and he just got so strung out, and I was feeding him drugs every day, and he was spending more time with me than he was with his own kids and his wife, and I basically did it to him because I wanted him to get strung out, because I wanted him to be addicted to my drugs so that I could make money off him. I feel really guilty about that time in my life.
Brought to you by the Montana Meth Project.
I had a reputation of being an ice head, and then after I started selling my body for drugs, that became a bigger part of my reputation. My name is Jessica. I'm 17 years old. I'm from Kaluakona, Hawaii. I started doing meth when I was 13 years old. I just hurt myself by giving myself to guys just for the drug, even if it wasn't a lot. I never thought I would do that. I always despised girls who were like that. But later on, I became one of them. I chose other guys and other people over my family. And at first, I really thought that it was because I cared for this person, but I didn't care about them. I don't like them at all. It's just because I wanted to get high. And I know they felt the same way because everyone is the same when they're on ice. I don't know, it wasn't love. It was nothing. It was just drugs. Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
I couldn't sleep because I was just high all the time. I was coming down from meth, and my dad, he came out and he asked me why I was late, and I hit him with a baseball bat. My name is Scott. I'm 17 years old. I'm from Twin Falls, Idaho, and I started using meth when I was 13. He went to the hospital, and I didn't even realize I did it until the next morning. I can't believe I treated my father like that, When I was on meth, I didn't care about what anybody wanted. I didn't care about how my mom was. I didn't care about how my family was. It was just all about me. I just didn't want anything to get in my path, to try and prevent me from getting some meth.
Brought to you by the Idaho Meth Project.
The first time I tried meth was with the guy I started dating, and he just asked me if I wanted to try it, and I said yeah. I think the meth was more powerful than me. I was powerless when it came to the meth. My name is Brittany. I am 20 years old. I started doing meth when I was 19. I got to the point where I didn't want to take care of myself. I ended up having to move out of my house because I couldn't pay my bills. I did get suicidal a couple times. I tried to hang myself. I tied a wire rope around a branch and I jumped off the thing and the rope broke. And I just laid there and I just cried. When I was doing meth, I just figured there was nothing else out there for me anymore and that I'd already lost everything and I was a drug addict. I might as well end my life because I'm not worth anything to anybody.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
One day I ran into my mom in Waikiki and she didn't recognize me at first just because I was so messed up on ice. I had to explain to her who I was before she actually caught on. That was the first time I seen my mom cry in a really long time. Her crying in my arms made me feel like I was the worst person in the world. My name is Anu. I'm 18 years old. I'm from Honoka'a, Hawaii. I started doing meth when I was 13. At the beginning, I was stealing from family and from friends. Nothing else mattered but using meth and staying high. My mom lost trust in me and stopped calling. I would try to call her and she wouldn't call back. When I did visit the family and stuff, they wouldn't want to talk to me or see me. I didn't think about the consequences or how bad it was hurting me or my family and stuff. I just wanted to get high.
Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
When I was using, my biggest dream was to die, from like an overdose or to be high or something. Because then I was dying, feeling really good. My name is Julie. I'm 15 years old. I'm from Missoula, Montana, and I started doing meth when I was 14. I've already been locked up for 6 months, and I got about 4 more to go. My life was a mess. It was a huge, huge mess. I had a cavity in almost every tooth. My bones are a lot weaker. Got little scabs on my skin from using. My body didn't have energy to do anything, but my mind kept on going, so I couldn't sleep. I no longer, cared about anything. I didn't even care about myself. If a person doesn't have that much power over me, how can a substance? I've been thinking about it like the last couple of weeks and haven't found an answer, but I'm trying.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
It was probably after I moved back up here and started using meth regularly. Me and a couple friends of mine went up to rob somebody. He ended up getting shot. My name is Nick. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Dillon, Montana. I started doing meth when I was 14. We walked in to the apartment and he had a safe open with drugs and money in it. My friend pulled out a gun and said, either you can give us this or we're gonna take it. The guy jumped up and my buddy pulled the trigger and the guy was shot. We didn't call 911. I was just too high to even care about anything or anyone. I knew it was bad when I was doing it, but at the time, all I was thinking about was myself, how I was gonna get high. Coming down and not having it was just the worst thing. That drug is, the devil. You can't control it no matter what you think.
Brought to you by the Montana Meth Project.
You lose sight of your hopes and dreams. You lose all your morals and values. You don't care about anything except for getting the drug. This addiction changes you completely. My name is Anna. I'm 17 years old, and I started doing meth when I was 12. I have a lot of regrets because of using methamphetamine. One of my biggest ones is not graduating high school. You get wrapped up in it so quick that it's like you're constantly in life with blinders on and you don't realize the damage that you're creating or that you're even supposed to be growing up and learning to have a job and all that stuff until one day you wake up and you've missed it all. School dances, proms, getting your driver's license, getting your first apartment. Going to college, you've missed all that stuff. I was curious, and that curiosity just turned into an addiction quick.
Brought to you by the Colorado Meth Project.
After the first use of meth, it was probably 3 hours before I was like, whatever that was, I need some more of it. And then it went from that one time to using every day, every night. I knew I was addicted the first. My name is Katie. I'm from Gainesville, Georgia. I started doing meth when I was 16. I would steal from my parents. I would wait till they would leave, and I knew the alarm system code, so I would break in and take money. I would steal from my grandparents. Anyone that was around me, I would take their checkbook, I would take their money, I would take anything I could get my hands on. I went to jail for forgery, for financial card transaction fraud, for theft by receiving stolen property, for burglary. You know, I robbed so many houses, I don't even know which one I went to jail for. I was stealing to support my habit, and eventually it all caught up with me. Meth affected every relationship I had. My friends were no longer my friends because I stole from everyone that I was around. I didn't realize how valuable those relationships were to me.
Brought to you by the Georgia Meth Project.
The low when you're coming down off of meth is like you just want to die. I mean, it's worse than being like burnt to death. My name is Christina. I'm from Shoto, Montana. I'm 18 years old, and I started doing meth when I was 17. I was homeless. I was stealing from everybody that I knew that I loved. I lost my fiance. I lost a lot of my friends. I lost a lot of respect that people had for me. The first time I was definitely addicted to meth. Because after that, you know, that's all I wanted to do was get high. You think it's only gonna be once, and it's not gonna be. I mean, that's a huge myth. There's no way. I don't care what anybody says. If they've done it more than once. It's probably the worst idea you could ever have.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
I was running from the cops when I jumped out of my friend's car. He was running with me, and we were about to split up, but he was scared, you know, so we tried to stick together, and I looked back, and the cops were right behind us, and I tripped him so he would get caught and I could get away. My name is Tim. I'm 20 years old. I started doing meth when I was 17. Meth basically made me into a criminal. You know, I was a very nice guy. I got along with everyone, and when I started doing meth, I just started thinking of any way possible to get something, and I'd do it. I've taken my parents' credit card and withdrew money from it, stolen from kids, pawning stuff I had, things that really meant a lot to me, but I pawned them just to get the money to buy the meth. You know, whether it hurt me, hurt someone else, hurt my family, I didn't care at all.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
I went over to a house to sell meth, and they had kids. And I remember it being one of the dirtiest houses that I've ever been to. I mean, to where their electricity is turned off because they haven't paid their bills. The sewage is backed up, ashtrays everywhere, dirty spoons from meth lying all over. My name is Holly. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Eagle, Idaho. I started using meth when I was 13. They were dope sick. When you come to that point where you haven't had meth for a while, your body hurts and you just want to scream because it is hell. So I went to their house and to give them some, and they locked their kids in the bathroom because they were screaming and crying. They were consumed with their high. So I sold them some drugs and I left. I came back 2 days later and their kids were still in the bathroom.
Brought to you by the Idaho Meth Project.
The paranoia, the shadow people. You start seeing random shadows thinking that people are following you. You're in a house, you think everyone's out to get you, even though they're supposed to be your friends, you think. You think everybody just hates you, basically. My name is Alan. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Tucson, Arizona. I started doing meth when I was 16 years old. One thing I do a lot of was steal from my family. That was probably the most hurtful. I take everything that they liked, and I would go and trade them for drugs, or I'd go to a pawn shop and pawn them off, just for maybe 20, 30 bucks just to get high. My morals were pretty messed up at the time. All my reservations were gone. I said I'd never steal from my family. I would never steal from a random individual. I've done all those. I had to get to that point to where I lost everything. Family gave up on me. Pretty much had nobody but myself, which I did to myself, so.
Brought to you by the Arizona Meth Project.
I knew I had hit rock bottom when I started shooting up. That was my lowest point because I just was like totally out of it. I wasn't even there no more. I was just gone. My name is Tanya. I am 15 years old. I am from Douglas, Arizona. I started using meth when I was 12. Basically, my life was totally destroyed. I mean, I had ran away from home, and so I didn't have nowhere to go. I wore the same clothes every day. Like, I only showered like maybe twice a week. I didn't have nothing left. I mean, nothing at all. I didn't even have no shoes on my feet. I thought I knew everything. I was like, you know, I'm not gonna get addicted to this drug. It's not gonna hurt me at all. I can control myself. But in the long run, you know, I couldn't control it. It's like meth controlled me.
Brought to you by the Arizona Meth Project.
I've had a couple of friends that asked me about ice, and I just passed the pipe to them. Oh, here you go. This is how you do it. Or I would light it for them. Then they got addicted, and some of them, I don't even know if they're still alive. My name is Kaimilani. I am 17 years old. I'm from Waipahu, Hawaii, and I started doing meth when I was 15 years old. Using ice, I had nowhere to turn, no one to talk to. I was by myself with nothing. I was badly addicted, and I started selling personal belongings for ice. You need it every second. When you're out of it, you're gonna find a way to get more. And everything just started disappearing from me. I lost my friends, my family, everything. They don't want to talk to me because I do ice, because they don't know who I am anymore. They don't know what to do with me.
Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
I was with a friend, and she started tweaking, and so I decided I'd start tweaking because we'd been good friends for a long time, and she'd always say how good it was, and she knew she needed to stop, but she just liked it, and it was going to be her last time, and I was going to do it with her, and we'd never do it again.
Hi, my name's Kelly. I started doing meth when I was 16.
And I had to go to the hospital twice because I overdosed, because I was having seizures because of the drugs I took. I've had a lot of friends that messed up their lives, and it changes your whole personality. I can't be around it because I know if I do it anymore, I'm just going to go back to jail. And I want to have my life back. I want my mom to be able to trust me. I want to fix things.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
When I first started smoking, I really got addicted to it, and I needed it every day. So the ice made me feel like it was my home, my family, my friends, everything. It was like a part of me. My name is Josh. I am 17 years old. I'm from Kalihi, Hawaii. I started doing meth when I was 16. My friend pulled up in his car, and right there we started smoking. We got high. He said, "Are you sure you want to rob a house?" I was like, "Whatever it takes to get money. I need money. I need it now. Whatever it takes, I'll do it." And then we went to this house, broke the windows. We jumped through, searched the house, flipped everything, took laptops, just computers, valuable stuff that we could sell to get money. For me, I said I was never gonna smoke ice. Then my first time trying it, I was like, yeah, I'm only gonna smoke with my friends. Next thing I know it, I was living with my friend. Next thing I knew it, I was homeless.
Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
I went to the eye doctor. He told me that he's surprised that I can see because I have holes in my corneas because of my meth use. My name is Nikki, and I'm 17 years old, and I started using meth when I was 16. I can honestly say right now that I was addicted first time I used it. I mean, I denied it forever. I realized I had a problem when I first went to jail. I realized I had a problem when the people around me stopped wanting to be with me because I was so high all the time. But with meth, it's like, just you want to be angry. You want to be mad because everybody around you is so happy and you're so unable to feel that feeling. I'm ashamed of almost everything that I did when I was high. It's the beginning of the end of your life just because it's gonna ruin everything.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
I would get girls high, and then I'd get them to do sexual stuff with me, and I knew if I had the bag in my pocket, they would be right there because they wanted to get high. My name is Thomas. I'm 21 years old. I started doing meth when I was 12. Yeah, I started my girlfriend. I started her on meth. I was selling at the time, and I wanted her to start using so I can use because she didn't want me to use at the time. So I got her drunk, and then I told her, here, try this. This will sober you up. So she tried it. And then I was like, see, you like that, don't you? I was like, why don't you let me do it? Let's just try some more. Here you go. And so that's how I got her started. I regret taking advantage of people, and I'm ashamed about just the life I lived.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
I think I was up for like 4 or 5 weeks, and I would black out in I'd wake up in somebody's yard, or I'd wake up behind a truck or something, and first thing in my mind was not what was I doing, how did I end up here, is where's more meth? It destroyed my life, destroyed everything for me, pure chaos. I didn't even like myself. My name is James. I'm from Miles City, Montana. I started doing meth when I was 17. It just makes you think everybody's out to get you. Anything that you think becomes a reality. So if you think there's 80 people outside watching you, there's 80 people outside watching you. And I just hated the fact that I couldn't separate reality from, fiction. I couldn't stop it. When I finally realized that I needed to quit, I weighed 97 pounds. I wish I would have never touched that stuff.
What do you know about meth? To get the full story, ask at methproject.org.
I had sex with guys for money. I had sex with guys for meth. I'd do anything to get drugs. I could pretty much sell any part of my body and it'd be okay if I got high later that night. My name is Zelda. I'm 16 years old. I started doing meth when I was 13. Thinking back, it makes me feel, it makes me feel like trash. Like I wasn't my own person. I knew I didn't love myself, and I knew I didn't care about myself. So I'd do anything they wanted. I was like, okay, I'll give you this if you give me a sack. I'll give you this if you give me the next fix, Like it wasn't about loving myself. It wasn't about liking the guy. It was just about the drugs.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
When I was 14, I moved in with my drug dealer. I was kicked out from my mom's house. She didn't want to put up with me. My name is Andy. I'm 17 years old. I started doing meth when I was 12. The longest time I was awake was 32 days. I was blacking out pretty much because I'd been up so long and was so high. And a week later, I was sitting in a detention facility in Las Vegas, coming down, withdrawing, not knowing how I got here, what happened, and was completely just gone. I was violent. I was robbing people. I cared more about doing meth than I did people that cared about me. I think it took a number of years off of how long I'll stay alive.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
I told myself I would kill myself if I ever shot at meth because I didn't want to be a junkie. I didn't want to be like everybody else because even though I knew I was smoking meth, I gave myself an excuse because I was just smoking it. I wasn't shooting it, but then I led myself to, I'll shoot it just one time. My name is Abigail. I am 16 years old. I'm from Jerome, Idaho, and I started doing meth when I was 13. All the time, it ended up for me. Like I said, I gave myself the excuse, I'll only smoke it one time. Then I went to shooting up, I'll only shoot it up one time. And I just led excuses. I don't think that people can just do it one time and say, I'm done. Because it pulls you in. There's something about methamphetamine that grabs onto your soul and it takes you on a ride that never ends. Because of meth, I did things too fast, but I really missed out on growing up and I can't take that back.
Brought to you by the Idaho Meth Project.
I really don't remember that far back, but I remembered when I progressed in my meth use, it was almost every day, all day long. Never stopped, never quit, was always looking for more.
My name is Courtney. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Spirit Lake, Idaho. I started doing meth at 13.
Actually, a week after I first did it, I had smoked about almost half a pound within a week. And I ended up losing my virginity because I was so high and I was so out of it. I passed out and I kept waking up, passing out, waking up, and I woke up and my friend had told me, "You slept with someone." I kind of looked at her like she was crazy. I was almost 14 and I lost something that was sacred to me.
Brought to you by the Idaho Meth Project.
Because of ice, I went suicidal once. I went into my room, I took a rope and then tied it around my head and I just was hanging. I kicked the stool and my girlfriend walked in when I was all purple and she took me down. My name is Pikelo. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Wailuku, Hawaii. I started doing meth when I was 12. Because of ice, my body was totally dehydrated. I went into convulsions. The paramedics had to shove tubes down my mouth to get liquids into my body. I hurt a lot of people. Most of the friends that I hanged out with, they used to smoke ice too, or if they didn't smoke it, then I usually gave them their first hit. Now I feel really bad because most of them are addicted to it, and I lost like good friends. That one hit really changes your life.
Brought to you by the Hawaii Meth Project.
The first time I had a gun put to my head, I was scared. I just kind of froze. I went into shock and I didn't really know what to do. My name is Jeff. I am 18 years old. I started doing meth when I was 14. I had a ball of meth in my hand and the guy told me to either pay him or give the meth back, and I didn't want to give the meth back. I was like ready to put my life on the line for that meth. Eventually I went into tears and I was begging him, I need this, I need this. Like, you can't take this from me, I need this. I promise I'll pay, I promise, I swear. He didn't believe me, so I jumped up and started running, and I just panicked, and I left my friend, and my friend got shot.
Brought to you by the Meth Project.
Within the first 3 months that I had done it, I was stealing from my mom, I was lying to people I really loved, and all I thought about was meth, and all I talked about was meth. All I dreamt about was meth. It's all I wanted. It had taken me over really fast. My name is Josie. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Billings, Montana, and I started doing meth when I was 14. I can't believe that I let meth control my life so greatly. I wish I knew what I knew now back then. And I am in prison right now, and when I get out, I will be a woman. I will be an adult. And my entire adolescent childhood was involved in criminal behavior and doing meth and being an addict, in and out of jail, in and out of psychiatric hospitals. I just lost this big, chapter in my life that I'm never going to get back.
Brought to you by the Montana Meth Project.